Bible Stories Illustrated, from Genesis to Jesus. If you are new to this channel, be sure to like, subscribe and ring the bell for all notifications for a 10-minute illustrated Bible story every day. In this video, you will hear the story of Abraham and the journey that changed history forever. But this story does not begin with a king or a warrior. It begins with one man who was asked to leave everything behind. Long after the Tower of Babel had been left unfinished, the world had become filled with many nations and many languages. People lived in different lands and followed different paths. But in one distant land, there lived a man named Abraham. At that time, he was not known as Abraham yet. His name was Abram. He lived with his wife Sarai and his family in a land far from where his story would eventually lead him. Abram lived a quiet and ordinary life. He was not a king. He was not a famous leader. He was not a great warrior. He was simply a man living among his people. He lived in a world that had already seen great events. The world had seen creation. It had seen the fall of Adam and Eve. It had seen the great flood that had once covered the entire earth. It had seen the Tower of Babel rise and fall. And now the story was about to change again. But this time, the story would focus on one man instead of the whole world. One day, everything changed for Abram. God spoke to him and gave him a command that would change his life forever. God told him to leave his country. He was told to leave his people. He was even told to leave his father's household. And he was told to go to a land that God would show him later. Abram did not know where he was going. He did not know how far the journey would be. He did not know what dangers might be waiting ahead. He only knew that he had been called to go. And with that, Abram faced a choice that few people in history have ever faced. He could stay in the safety of everything he had always known. Or he could leave everything behind and trust in something he could not yet see. And Abram chose to go. He gathered his wife Sarai. He gathered his nephew Lot. He gathered everything that belonged to him. He left behind the land where he had grown up. He left behind the people he had always known. And together, they began the long journey into the unknown. They traveled across dry land and open plains. They walked across places where no great cities stood. They moved step by step toward a future that Abram could not yet understand. The journey was long and difficult. The land was dry in many places. The road was uncertain, but Abram continued to move forward. Because God had also given Abram a promise. God told him that he would become the father of a great nation. God told him that his descendants would one day be too many to count. God told him that kings would one day come from his family. And God told him that through Abram, all the nations of the earth would one day be blessed. Abram did not yet have a great nation. He did not yet have a great kingdom. He did not even have a child. But still, he continued to trust. As the journey continued, Abram finally came to a new land. It was a land unlike the place he had left behind. It was a land that would later become one of the most important places in the entire Bible. And when Abram arrived there, God spoke to him again. God told him that this land would one day belong to his descendants. It was a promise that would shape the future of generations to come. Abram believed what he had been told. He did not build a palace. He did not build a city. Instead, he built an altar. It was his way of showing that he trusted in the promise he had been given. After that, Abram continued traveling through the land. He moved from place to place with his family. He continued living as a traveler rather than a ruler. He continued to live in tents instead of great buildings. But everywhere he went, he carried the promise with him. Years would pass. Challenges would come. Hard decisions would lie ahead. But Abram's faith would continue to grow stronger. Because the story of Abram was not just about a journey across land. It was about a journey of faith. It was about trusting something that could not yet be seen. And the promise that had been given to him would one day change the world forever. And that is how the story of Abraham begins in the book of Genesis. If you enjoyed this story, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what comes next. Because in the next story, the promise to Abraham will be tested in a way that will change his life forever.
Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to help spread the word of our Lord. Thank you.